So this is chapter 2, part 2, and this is where we left off. We left off with part 1, talking about clickbait and how we need to be careful at where we get our nutrition information. And I wanted to draw your attention to yet another wonderful resource here within your online textbook. So I am in the McGraw-Hill Connect platform, and I am in the online textbook, like you can see here, online page 28. Um, Within your chapter, there are these concept checkpoints, which I highly, highly recommend that you do. You will see these again as potential test questions and review questions. So please take a moment to either write them out or just make sure you review them and understand them as far as the major concepts that they're asking for. These review checkpoints or these concept checkpoints are a wonderful review, and you may see them again as some potential test questions. So moving on now to concept 2.2, fact or fiction. So let's dive in to the slides here and continue our study on nutrition misinformation and some warning signs you need to look out for, and also where you can get validated and research-based and good nutrition information, who you can get that from. So remember, I started chapter 2 with telling you how this is not so much a chapter on nutrition, but it's a chapter on how to be a critical thinker and how to think. So part of your job as a future nutrition professional or a healthcare professional is looking at being a critical consumer. How do we look at nutrition information? And don't always assume information in media is reliable, because usually it's not. Usually it's going to be a testimonial, and anything that is a testimonial, the person is being paid to say whatever it is they're being paid to say. So use that with a grain of salt. Also, be an educated consumer. Okay, you are responsible for questioning the nutritional adequacy of anything that you put into your body or bring into your family's home. So definitely do that. And be alert for pseudoscience, okay, ads online, commercials that you see on your YouTube videos or in your Netflix, Amazon video ads. Be very careful of pseudoscience and misinformation. As you see here, some examples of, whoops, what did I click on? Sorry. You see some examples of weight loss formula, new and improved, quick, okay, everything you need to burn fat, burn fat. We'll talk about how fat is metabolized. Um, and just beware, okay? Is this a study that is cited? Is it a paid testimonial? Is the person touting the information, are they a medical doctor? Are they a PhD type doctor? These are targeted ads, so be aware for that. Also, be on the lookout for quackery. Quackery is legal. Okay. It is promoting useless medical treatments, uh, providing nutrition information and advice without proper training is technically illegal. Some states have more laws related to who can call themselves a nutritionist, but um, in general, a nutrition coach, a wellness expert, a wellness influencer or health influencer online, these are not standardized, certified credentials. So be aware, okay? It's, in other words, nutrition science is not as legalized as practicing medicine. Okay, practicing medicine is illegal. Providing nutrition information is not. So that's why, whoo, you gotta look for red flags out there. Okay, nothing in life is quick and easy. Okay, You didn't become 40 pounds overweight overnight, so you're not going to lose it within a month either. Okay. Nothing is quick. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Looking for scare tactics and personal attacks. Where it says personal attacks here on registered dietitians or scientists, this is when they say things like they don't want you to know the truth. Okay. They're hiding the truth of this, and that. Why are they trying to scare you into not believing what a professional would say? So, in other words, look at these with a grain of salt. Also, if it is a testimonial or a personal um, statement, they're fine, but don't take them as science-based. Okay, definitely look for those tolerable upper limits that we talked about earlier in chapter one. A lot of minerals, metals, chemical elements that they are adding to these foods in super doses can be harmful. Okay, so things like excess caffeine, mega doses of caffeine, mega doses of fat soluble vitamins can have health ramifications. So definitely look at that. Okay. Recommendations that are only on one particular study. Yikes. Okay. All I have to say about that is yikes. Okay. Um, you need a study to be repeatable and have been studied more than once. Okay. Mm, Information concerning nutrients related to human physiology, such as, oh, your hair color, oh, certain blood types are more related to this, or certain um, um diseases are more prone to this. Be aware of that. Okay. And also notice the fine print in a lot of these supplements. If you read this fine print, what it kind of boils down to is this adipo melter, adipo meaning fat. Okay, that's a trademark name, which means it's a made up name, right? Well, not necessarily, but that right there should be a red flag. But also, when you read the small print down here, in essence, it says food and exercise does also matter too. So results are going to vary, right? This product may or may not help you. So, in other words, no real research there behind it. You also have reputable sources that you can always gather information on the internet. So if it ends in a .gov or a .org or a .edu, these are sites that are going to be government or edu educational. You got to look at org with a grain of salt, and you also have to look at .coms with a grain of salt, right? Because those are not going to always be peer reviewed or citable. But looking at multiple sites and definitely not relying on AI or ChatGPT or Grok or any of those things because they make mistakes as well. So rely on manageable health related sites. And this one right here, Health on the Net, is a privately funded international foundation that helps with standardizing health information online. So that's another interesting one. Okay. So bewareof.com. When you're looking at nutrition experts, okay, there is, like I said earlier, there's no one standard definition for nutrition or a nutritionalist. Physicians usually do not have extensive nutritional knowledge. So, not to poo-poo medical doctors, they are great and they are wonderful. And as a dietitian, I do work under the orders of a physician when I was in clinical practice, but they are not the quote unquote nutrition experts. Okay. Reliable nutrition experts are going to be your registered dietitians and registered dietitian nutritionists. So these are technically the same thing. It's only been within the last 10 years or so that the licensing agency or the credential agency for registered dietitians added the nutritionist part here because they saw the quackery growing in the nation of everybody. Oh, excuse me, not everybody. Um, People calling themselves nutritionists. Okay. There is no standard behind that. But in order to be called a registered dietitian or a registered dietitian nutritionist, these are legally protected credentials. So I am a registered dietitian nutritionist, meaning let me kind of skip ahead, meaning that I have gone through the accredited master's program, completed the supervised didactic program, and passed the national registration exam, as well as maintaining continuing education credits. So, similar to becoming a registered nurse. The registration status simply means it is a legally protected credential from this national credentialing agency. So in other words, if it's an RDN, a dietitian, a registered dietitian nutritionist, you know they have the clinical background. My specialty was clinical dietetics, where I worked in the hospital for over 15 years on the floors doing medical nutrition therapy, um, enteral feedings. Oh, well, mainly just clinical nutrition therapy on the floor with patients, and did a little bit with food systems management. And I never really went into the community nutrition aspect. That would be more like your health department, your WIC, um, women, infant, and children food programs type thing. Food systems management, that would be more of your hospitality, hotel management, working in hospital cafeteria settings, school settings, massive food production settings. My specialty and love was in clinical dietetics, working with patients. So those are your healthcare professionals, and when it comes to nutrition information. Okay. Diving in now to nutritional supplements. Supplements are a whole world within their own. Remember in chapter one, we talked about the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act and how it really revolutionized the world of supplements. And that's because um, I thought it was on the slide. And that's because it changed everything because it made it to where supplements did not have to go through as stringent of FDA regulation as prescription drugs do. So that's how it really revolutionized the world when it comes to supplements. As long as it aids in a or adds to a person's dietary intake, as long as it's taken by mouth, okay, so it can be a powder, it can be a liquid, it can be a pill, it can be a gel, whatever it is. Um, and yeah, here it is. Then it can be called a supplement. And from that, it is not considered a drug, which meant that it does not have to go through a lot of the FDA regulations and clinical trials and all of that. The FDA will regulate what the label says and the claims, but it does not test the products and it does not ensure standards. Okay. So there's nothing out there that's saying what's in this tablet is actually what they are putting on the label. There's no standardized um, um, checkpoints unless the company agrees and pays extra for this seal of approval, usually by non-government agencies. This particular one is the U.S. Pharmacopoeia Company, and they independently test and verify. Okay, but there again, there's no guarantee that supplements are going to be guaranteed safe. There, I kind of skipped over. I'll come back to this one. In your textbook, there is a particular page I wanted to draw your attention to. It is page 52 and 53 in your textbook table. What table is that? Sorry. Here it is. This one right here. Table 2.2. So popular non-micronutrient dietary supplements, okay, meaning they're not a vitamin or mineral. These are part of those added pharmacochemicals that we spoke about in chapter 1. And these are some of the more common and some of the more popular. So you may have heard of some of these. The claims and some of the known benefits, and as well as some of the main risks. CoQ10 is a popular one in heart disease. You see those ads all the time, but more research is needed. And there again, FDA does not approve for treating cancer as one of the claims. Beware with certain blood thinners. Okay, and that was one of the things that I had to really fight against when I was in clinical practice, is patients on blood thinners or patients on certain other type of polypharmacy medications that would coincide or act against a lot of these added supplements. So melatonin is one, okay, about sleep disorders. So just be aware of that. Your textbook did give you an excellent resource there. Wanted to draw your attention to that. And two to three, excuse me, vocab terms: conventional medicine, alternative medicine, and integrative medicine. So conventional medicine, these are what's known as Western practices, where widely accepted, mainstream, FDA approved, well-known, research-based, conventional medical care. Compare that to alternative therapy. Oh, so an example of conventional care would be, oh, if you have high blood pressure, we'll put you on a quote unquote water pill, blood pressure um, uh, pill to help decrease your blood pressure. Okay, conventional medicine, give it a medication. Whereas an alternative therapy to high blood pressure would be to decrease sodium intake, exercise more, decrease stress through yoga and meditation. Okay. And the best practice oftentimes is to do the combined, which is integrative. Yes, maybe take the blood pressure pill to begin with, and then maintain your overall blood pressure through dietary practices, yoga, and meditation. And maybe you can wean off the medication. So that would be integrative. But as always, use supplements wisely. Okay, use them wisely. Make sure you use them properly. Okay, herbal supplements may contain toxins, so do your research when it's related to that, and stay away from those that we do know are currently harmful. Okay, so do your research. And remember, as we said in chapter 1, whole foods first. Okay. Don't always go directly to a pill for everything or a powder for everything. Food, whole food, is the most important arrow in your quiver, or the most important, powerful tool you have for your overall health. Okay. So food first. Discuss your needs and your supplements with your physician or your registered dietitian. Okay. They are in every doctor's office. They can be referred, and they are a wonderful resource for you. When you are dealing with children, it's a whole nother ballgame. Okay, so always consult a physician before giving supplements to children. And if you ever have any issues with your supplement, definitely contact your physician. But like I said, always, please, whole foods first. And finally, or in summary, be aware of claims, be wary of claims made about the supplement. Okay, make sure it's from a reliable resource. Risk versus benefits. Okay, there's nothing in life. What's that saying? No good deed goes unpunished, I guess. There's no one quick fix. There's always a risk versus benefit to everything. So definitely do your research there and avoid using dietary supplements, as I've said before, for your whole foods. Whole foods always first. So, in conclusion, please make sure you definitely read your chapter. Make sure you read the online textbook, go through the questions at the end of the textbook. Notice the hyperlinks here, okay, that are excellent for you as well. Ooh, yeah, I forgot about this one, your Office of Dietary Supplements. Okay, that's a good one where you can do your own research and don't just chat GPT it or GTS it. Okay, remember they get it wrong. Do your own research when it comes to your nutritional health. And then, as I mentioned before, at the end of chapter 2, you see these concept questions here. In summary, okay, you see that here. Oh, echinacea, yeah, purple coneflowers, that's a supplement a lot of my patients were on. There are some excellent recipes in here. I don't know if you've noticed that, but another good resource for your ebook here. This blueberry chicken salad is excellent, by the way, if you wanted to try that out. Okay. The antioxidants with blueberries, the dietary niacin from the nuts and the dairy products, the protein from the chicken, um, something really good. If you try out any of the recipes, let me know. This one is really good. A review about critical thinking, which is the major concept of the whole chapter. And then finally, here, your practice test. I definitely highly recommend that you go through these and maybe write them out, go through what each one of these terms mean: epidemiology, technobiology, diseaseology. That's not even a word, people. Okay, so go through these and do take some time and do your research and do these review questions, right? Because you will see them again. Hint, hint. They're again another excellent resource with your online textbook, right? Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and you can email me with any issues that you have. Have a wonderful day.